All right, all praise to the Most High Yahweh and to His Son, my brother, Amashiach Yahushai. Peace and blessings to my brothers and sisters from the Israelite tribes. All right, in this video, we're going to get into some interesting stuff. Normally, I'm going to do Bible prophecy or scriptures. I'm more of a DNA guy, but I was starting to see a pattern, and I was like, I think this is a possibility of happening due to the climate that we are in the U.S. versus other countries and everything. And I'm talking about this stuff from a point of view of being a African American in the U.S. And but yes, I am an Israelite. But yeah, I'm just talking about in general with the various situations that are plaguing the country in many cities. And not just that, but people jobs are a big issue or a thing with surviving in this country. So you have big pockets of expats of African Americans uh, leaving the U.S. for West Africa, and not just West Africa, but Caribbean, Mexico, various places. And um, there's always going to be a remnant of people, of Israelites, scattered in various places. So I remember seeing various camp videos on this topic of Jeremiah with the land of the north, and I remember a lot of the Israelites talking about Turkey because there's a big population of Benjamites in Turkey, and in general, there's a lot of Israelites that are scattered that um, are actually, native to, not native, but been in these countries for generations already. But you also have a lot of Israelites that becomes expats to these regions and countries. Um, for example, Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, a lot of track athletes from West Africa are are using Saudi Arabia and Bahrain and other Middle Eastern country as a sponsored country to race in. And you have other countries promoting athletes to come to the Middle East for all kinds of reasons and benefits. So um, it's not just those countries doing that; it's other countries. Uh, China and other countries have um, better pay for athletes, and you see with the Brittany Griner, yeah, Brittany Griner situation that athletes are going where they're paid more and where they are appreciated for their talent. So, in this same line of thought, we are getting into this whole concept of the land of the north. So, on TikTok, I was following, um, I don't know if they are twins or what, but there was this uh, these Russian women, and they were um, sharing with everybody their life and a normal day in the life of themselves or Russian people, because a lot of people don't think certain parts of Russia is modern, and so their account is very sarcastic based in they inform people that Russia is very advanced and modern, more so than what people would think. And that was the first time I was told about this village in, I believe, Moscow. So they have this wooden structure village for a good amount of people. Like they wanna hold in this venue, like a suburb, like a super suburb setting, close to 200,000 families. So they were pitching this concept to conservatives, and most of this is dealing and leaning towards the We Was Patriot group. And Russia values lines up with those grouping of people, but the irony is these people are hardcore naturalized Americans that are borderline racist people. So they are nowhere close to agreeing with Russian handouts or whatever. This handout would be more like a liberal thing versus a conservative acceptance of their policy versus American policy, because the We Was Patriot grouping of people, they get always, vote or do what they did in Gen 6 to get attention or to get their message and people into office via lobby, via funds, via whatever they could do at the grassroots level. So the issue with the GOP is they forsake their grassroots, and the Democrats, they, put more energy into their grassroots. And so this dynamics is leaving, people without dance partners. So Russia can't just, create this whole village and let it sit outside of Moscow or, of a major city in Russia without having people in it. So most likely they will try to promote whatever they can, whatever type of chaos and seduction to African American people who will find this attractive. So you do have a lot of African Americans that already travel and do business with Russia before and after the sanctions. So you also have, a lot of the typical stereotypes. You go, black people don't like cold weather. I love both types of weather. Hot and cold. Doesn't matter with me. I'm a wet weather type of person. So you have a lot of African American people living in New York, Michigan, Illinois, you know, Minnesota, states like that, Ohio, other places, to where you go, it's cold, Why you want to live in the cold, Connecticut, other places up north. So cold weather may not be a turnoff as many people would assume for black people or African American people, especially when you understand that Russia has, things to offset that turnoff for any ethnic group. But the targeted group is mostly so-called Americans. But I think I have a feeling that it's gonna veer towards African Americans, and this is because of the whole expats movement is contributing billions of dollars to various countries, and you know everybody is looking at this as a net plus for them and a net loss for the U.S. because the U.S. policies and everything is becoming anti African American because they are a lot of African Americans are being self-aware, and a lot of us are now asking for reparations and other aid from the government that the government don't want to give to us unless it's a election year, and they'll trick and lie until they get the votes, and then they won't come through on the promise. And so you have that back and forth going on when a lot of these other countries, your passport is your golden pass. Your passport is the passport and the visa, multiple visa or something better than a tourist visa, and your visa allows you, or your passport and your visa together allow you to do things that you normally would not be able to do on a tourist visa, or you going to another country versus West Africa. So a lot of countries are, making decisions towards luring African Americans to the country because, of the impact that we have on their cities and economy and everything else. So Russia, why not? So I think this is gonna be something that Russia is gonna do towards now in the election period for not just Americans but African Americans, trying to lure people to Russia. And not just this, but a lot of stuff like it's cheap to live outside the US. The only other places that are more expensive to live in is Europe and Australia. So a lot of uh, people, African Americans, they can easily not just live in this village, because this is a village that is um, I want to say probably subsidized by the government, which is most of everything is. But you, with the amount of money that most of us tend to have, could live outside of these major structure of cities and suburbs in the country, and live better off, in the countryside versus maybe in the city. And it's one of those things that could become more appealing to African Americans in the near future. So um, when I saw that video and this these articles, and I was trying to look up, because on TikTok there is um, a video with some type of Russian influence on various things, not just elections, but on different social media platform, encouraging African Americans to do certain things in the government to get the things that they want from the U.S. government or state or local government. And I wasn't able to Google search it or find whatever. So the closest thing that I found was this. And I haven't read it yet, but it's one of those things based off what we are, associating with so-called election tampering, or Russia, involving themselves in the elections here in the United States, even though it's pretty much similar to the concept of if you ever been in a church during election year, and your pastor, because the church is a nonprofit, it's a free speech, it's supposed to be a free speech layout, but technically it's not. And technically the church have rules of engagement with the members and politicians. So a lot of politicians, they could visit your church, but they can't promote their campaign. They can support any community effort, but they can't, do like a campaign speech in church. So this is just about what the Russians are doing, and the U.S. government is trying to make it seem like that the Russians are doing like a George Soros type of election setup, which they want to go after George Soros for tampering or doing whatever he does with the elections, but they will go after a whole country in Russia for doing something similar to what they allow people to do when they are running, going to a church to encourage people just to vote. So I'm gonna just scroll down this page. I'm not gonna read it because yeah. The other thing is a irony. So Russia also um, had a lot of propagandists, radio propagandists that was black people that they would pay to create propaganda, and that was something that I always questioned and thought about. Um, what happened to all those, black Russian or the African American guys that was pro Russia, that was doing propaganda work for Russia, and a lot of them just went into writing books, or a lot of them died, or a lot of them just went into uh, regular life of um, enjoying what they accomplished or moving on from that point. So I was like, I'm gonna do a video on this thought, because I could see it happening, and it don't have to be 200,000 African American families. It could just be 50 to 100 to not even that, but 20 African American families just relocating to Russia, and the window of time of that period happening for them to relocate and to be there and to start generating. It don't take that long, for our populations to explode. Um, my ancestry, the Yoruba grouping of people, we have, every so often generations of twins. So you get a good amount of families that have twins, and they'll start to, populate and so on. So um, this is what I, you know, visualize when people go, hey, Moses, Joseph, King David, these people might have, other people in their DNA pool. I'm like, well, you realize how fast we tend to populate, and um, our gene pool tends to be very, dominant. So, where are the other people gonna come from once, you're in your set cultural, safe, um, secure country and border setup, you know, and you are, doing business with your own people and not other countries for a long time. So we have to be very mindful that um, a lot of Israelite culture and traditions are surrounded by us being, self-contained culture, a self-contained culture, and other countries pay taxes or tributary to us to aid us with whatever we need, not, us integrating other people into our society, is It's us, demanding certain things from other people, more so. Also, Russia, the reason why a lot of African countries are pro Russia is because Russia always supplied them with weapons against, Western countries. Russia helped with Cuba and Angola and other countries, not civilization, but civil war issues and whatever destabilization issues the U.S. would or will throw at African countries. They know that Russia would help them with training and other weapon response to those issues. And now you have China. China uh, giving African countries free gifts with infrastructure, housing, other, farming. So China is more of a financial response to the Western world, and Russia is more of a military comforting response to America and the Western world. So that's about it. Was there any more? And this, yeah, I just pulled this up because, I thought it was going to be talking about, uh, how South Africa was supposed to arrest Putin once he got there. And everybody knew that wasn't going to happen because, South Africa is heavily anti West. And for the media and for the United States, for them to not uh, understand this by now and to think that maybe South Africa could be like um, India, be on the fence, but on our fence and do certain things to, stir Russia and China away from their resources and their advantages in Africa. Um, that's not going to be the case, that, the U.S. lost their flexibility and ability to influence and to inspire people a long time ago. So, um, for the media and for the U.S. to be puzzled about South Africa and its relationship with the BRICS and Russia versus, South Africa relationship with the UK and the US is something to where maybe the media is trying to create some type of talking point after these meetings and summits. But yeah, it's been like this a long time. So um, they just need to move on to the next propaganda and talking points that they want to promote about, Russia, because according to them, these people, especially CNN and Western media, and not just that, but the Pentagon, um, Putin is supposed to be on his deathbed. He's supposed to be sick. He's supposed to be ill of several diseases. He's supposed to have all kinds of health problems. He's supposed to be in grief of not being able to access his resources because of the sanctions. So it looks like the opposite is happening. You know. So the other issue is Israel is due north. Moscow is due north of Israel. If you look at the map, so I was like watching somebody junior, a pastor, a famous pastor. His son became a pastor, and the war, this Ukraine war started, and so YouTube was like sending a lot of algorithm of Ukraine war and everything, Bible prophecies and stuff, and this pastor son that became a pastor, he was talking about this on his podcast, and he's like they are trying to get certain things to happen with this conflict that is off in the near future, and this is a setup for Russia to invade Israel. And he's like, you realize that all these major cities have something in common. And I don't know if it was like Tel Aviv and Kiev and Moscow, or if it was Jerusalem, Kiev, and Moscow, but all of them are directly lined up underneath each other. And he's like, and everybody should know, Russia do need a land bridge. So that's why they have Crimea. The so if and when they do make a move on Israel, it'll be easier for them to, go through certain land masses versus, a air campaign or a naval campaign. They'll already be in the region. It'll be like a rapid response. So you have Crimea, and you also have them in Syria. You also have them in getting ready to build a military base for free in Eritrea. So there you go. You have China, the financing of this brick operation, wanting to use another market space in Europe. Not all of Europe, China is okay with dealing with Eastern Europe. So China is pro Russia taking on Ukraine and creating whatever type of buffer zone they need for any type of future war. Meanwhile, China wants the ability to put rail systems through Ukraine to get to Eastern Europe, if not all of Europe. And all this is leading towards that whole beast system with the chips and all the other crazy stuff that's supposed to go on in the near future. So this is Russia and China spotlight on the main scale, and this is the end of the New World Order as we look at this new empire rising from broken bits of that old empire system that the New World Order created from the Renaissance period. So you have the remnant of these, groups of people that colonized, relocated, migrated other places, and now they are coming back and saying, "Hey, we're the bricks, and we're gonna do something different," to enslave other people versus, uh, chattel slavery. We're gonna do financial slavery. So we're gonna take it to the next level because taxes and the central banking system is not good enough. It's got to be more flexible. So you have that dynamic happening with the BRICS, with them trying to maneuver around sanctions and central banking issues and crypto and Bitcoin. And there's other things in play like the Saudi Arabian oil families. They are funding like a super hedge fund to create chips as well. So they're maneuvering around, what could happen in Taiwan in the near future. So a lot of these countries are, preparing for the downfall of the United States because the United States is the only country besides the UK and Poland that is seeing red and seeing the ability to say that they are ready for war when in reality the US is not ready for war. They have the lowest recruitment averages right about now. They have the lowest ability to manufacture things in this climate in the US because of the weather, because of the EPA standards, because of other regulations. So for the United States to be involved with even proxy wars via ISIS or Ukraine is crazy because we was never built for any of this type of warfare. At best, America was built for destabilizing, and that's it. Shock and awe, get in, get out, not linger. But the U.S. been exposed too many times for too long, and now what goes around comes around. Jeremiah Wright said that the roosters are coming home to roost. You just can't keep doing the same thing and expect for people to look the other way and not find out what's really going on. So with that being said, like always, once again, all praise to the Most High Yahweh and to His Son, my brother, Amashiach Yahushai. Peace and blessings to my brothers and sisters from the Israelite tribes. Thank y'all for the views. Thank y'all for the comments. feel free to leave a comment according to the community guidelines, and I try my best to reply to it either via comment section or video. With that being said, peace and thank y'all.